Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Ben.
And I'm Lily.
Lily, I have to ask, did you manage to stick to that early morning routine you were telling me about last week?
Ha! I lasted 3 days. 3 whole days, Ben. And then my alarm went off and I just didn't.
That is so relatable. And actually, it leads us perfectly into today's topic because we're talking about the science of habit formation, why habits are so powerful, why we form them in the first place, and most importantly, why bad habits feel almost impossible to break.
Yes! And I have a feeling a lot of you watching right now are thinking about a habit you've been trying to change. Whether that's scrolling on your phone too much, eating too much sugar, or just hitting snooze every single morning.
Guilty on at least 2 of those. Okay, but before we get into the science, we have our quiz question for today, and we'll come back to the answer later in the episode.
Right, so here it is. According to research, how long does it take on average to form a new habit? Is it A, 21 days, B, 66 days, or C, 90 days?
Ooh, I feel like I've heard the 21 days thing a lot, so I'm going to guess A, 21 days. That's what everyone always says, right?
It is what everyone says. We'll see if everyone is right. Okay, so let's actually dig into the science here. The first thing to understand is that habits live in a very specific part of the brain called the basal ganglia.
And the basal ganglia, that's a region deep in the brain that handles things we do automatically without really thinking about them. So when you've done something enough times, your brain essentially moves it out of the thinking part and hands it over to this automatic system.
Which is actually brilliant because it frees up mental energy for other things. Your brain is basically saying, I know this routine, I don't need to focus on it anymore.
Exactly. And researchers call this process automaticity. Automaticity means the point where a behavior becomes so practiced that it happens almost without conscious effort.
Like how you don't really think about brushing your teeth in the morning. You just do it.
Right. And the reason habits form at all is something called the habit loop. The habit loop is a 3-step cycle. There's a cue, which is a trigger that starts the behavior, then the routine, which is the behavior itself, and then the reward, which is the good feeling you get at the end.
So for me and my phone scrolling, my cue is probably boredom or a moment of silence. The routine is picking up my phone, and the reward is that little hit of stimulation I get from seeing something new.
And the problem is, once your brain has connected those 3 things, cue, routine, reward, that connection becomes really strong. And here's a word I want to introduce: ingrained. When we say a habit is ingrained, we mean it has become deeply fixed into the brain's wiring, almost like a groove carved into wood.
And that's why just deciding to stop isn't usually enough. The groove is already there.
Now, we wanted to get a sense of how people actually experience this in real life. So we asked a few people what they think about their own habits. Here's what they told us.
The first person said, I've tried to stop biting my nails so many times. I don't even realize I'm doing it until it's already done. It's like my hand just moves by itself.
The second person said, I go to the gym every morning now, and honestly, it feels strange if I don't go, but it took months before it felt natural. The first few weeks were really hard.
And the third person said, I think the hardest part of breaking a bad habit is that you still get the craving even after you stop. I quit smoking 2 years ago, and sometimes I still feel like I want one.
That last one is so important, and it actually takes us into the next part of the science. Because what that person described, that craving, is a key reason why bad habits are so stubborn.
Right. So when you repeat a habit over and over, your brain starts to anticipate the reward. It actually begins releasing dopamine. Dopamine is a chemical in the brain associated with pleasure and motivation. Not when you get the reward, but when you see the cue.
So just seeing your phone on the table can already trigger that dopamine response before you've even picked it up.
Which makes the craving feel very real and very physical. It's not just about willpower.
And this is where a lot of people go wrong, because they think breaking a habit is about having enough self-control. But researchers have found something more effective, which is called habit substitution. Habit substitution means replacing the old routine with a new one that responds to the same cue and still delivers some kind of reward.
So instead of picking up your phone when you're bored, you could pick up a book or do a quick stretch, something that still gives your brain a little satisfaction.
The cue is still there, the reward is still there, but the routine in the middle is different.
And the other big factor is environment. Studies show that people who successfully change a habit often do it by changing their surroundings. There's actually a word for this: friction. In behavioral science, friction means the amount of effort required to do something. If you increase the friction for a bad habit, you make it harder to do automatically.
Like putting your phone in another room at night, so there's physical distance between you and the cue. That extra step, getting up, walking over, is sometimes just enough to break the automatic cycle.
And you can also reduce friction for good habits. Put your gym shoes right next to your bed. Keep fruit on the counter instead of in the fridge. Make the good choice the easy choice.
I love that. Make the good choice the easy choice. Okay, before we get to our quiz answer, let's quickly go through all of today's words because there were quite a few good ones.
So the first word was automaticity. That's when a behavior becomes so well practiced that it happens almost without thinking, like tying your shoelaces.
The habit loop is the three-part cycle of cue, routine, and reward that drives all habitual behavior. My cue is sitting on the sofa, my routine is snacking, and my reward is, well, the snack.
Ingrained means deeply fixed into your brain's wiring. So fixed that it's very difficult to change. Old habits are ingrained habits.
Dopamine is the brain chemical linked to pleasure and motivation. It's released when we anticipate or receive a reward. And it's a big reason cravings feel so powerful.
Habit substitution means swapping out the old routine for a new one while keeping the same cue and reward. It's one of the most effective strategies for lasting change.
And friction is the amount of effort it takes to do something. More friction for bad habits, less friction for good ones. That's the idea.
Great. Okay, Ben. Quiz answer time. You guessed 21 days. How confident are you feeling?
Honestly, a little less confident now that I know more about how complex habit formation actually is.
Good instinct, because the answer is B, 66 days. A study from University College London found that on average, it takes 66 days for a new behavior to become automatic, though it can range anywhere from 18 days to over 200, depending on the person and the habit.
So that 21-day rule that everyone repeats? Not quite accurate. Which is actually encouraging in a way. If your new habit hasn't clicked after 3 weeks, you haven't failed. You just need more time.
That is such a good takeaway. Change takes longer than we expect, and that's completely normal. Be patient with yourself.
Well said. Thanks so much for watching today's episode. We hope the science gives you a new way to think about the habits you want to build or break.
And comment practice, and we'll reply with today's phrase. We love hearing from you.
See you next time.
Bye.